I almost lost everything. At 63 years old, I was staring at retirement with barely enough to survive. My wife was worried sick. I couldn't sleep at night. And honestly, I thought we'd have to work until we dropped dead. But then I discovered one simple habit, just one, that completely turned everything around. And today, 6 years later, I'm living comfortably in retirement. That one habit saved us, and it can save you too. Good morning, friends. My name is Robert, and I'm 69 years old. I've been retired now for 6 years, and people often ask me, Robert, how did you do it? You didn't have a big 401k, you didn't have a pension. What was your secret? And every time I tell them about this one habit, not a complicated investment strategy. This is not some get-rich-quick scheme, just one simple habit that changed everything. Now, before we go further, let me be clear that I'm not a financial advisor. I don't have fancy credentials. But what I do have is real experience. I've lived this, I've made the mistakes, learned the lessons, and come out the other side. And if an old construction worker like me can figure this out, so can you. Let me take you back to a moment I'll never forget.
It was a Tuesday evening, 6 months before I planned to retire. My wife Ellen and I were sitting at the kitchen table with papers spread everywhere. Bills, bank statements, credit card statements. We were trying to figure out if we could actually afford to retire. Ellen looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "Bob, I don't think we're going to make it. The numbers just don't add up." She was right. We had some savings, sure, but we also had a mortgage payment, 2 car payments, credit card debt from home repairs we'd done the year before. When we added it all up, our Social Security wouldn't even cover our basic expenses. I felt like a failure. Here I was, worked my whole life, and I couldn't even provide a comfortable retirement for my wife. That night, I barely slept. I kept thinking, there has to be a way. There has to be something I'm missing. The next morning, I did something I'd never done before. I sat down with a notebook, an actual paper notebook, and I wrote down every single expense we'd had in the past 3 months. Everything. The mortgage, the car payments, utilities, groceries, that coffee Ellen bought at the drive-thru, the subscription services we barely used, eating out, gas, insurance, everything. And that's when I saw it, clear as day. We were hemorrhaging money on things that didn't matter, things we didn't even enjoy, things we'd just gotten used to paying for without thinking. That $80 cable package. We watched maybe 3 channels. That gym membership. I'd been maybe twice in 6 months, eating out twice a week because we were too tired to cook. That was costing us over $400 a month. And those car payments? We were paying for vehicles that spent most of their time sitting in the driveway. Friends, I discovered the one habit that would save our retirement. Intentional spending. Writing down every single dollar before we spent it. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's it? A budget? That's your big secret? But hear me out. This wasn't just a budget. This was different. Most people make a budget and then try to stick to it. We did it backwards. We decided what mattered most to us first, and then we only spent money on those things. Here's what we did, step by step. First, we made a list of what actually brought us joy. Not what we thought should bring us joy. What actually did. Time with grandkids, Ellen's morning coffee with her friends, my woodworking hobby, Sunday dinners together, simple stuff. Second, we looked at every expense and asked one question. Does this help us live the life we actually want? If the answer was no, it had to go. That cable package? Gone. We got a basic streaming service for $12 a month. The gym membership? Canceled. I started walking in our neighborhood instead. Free. And I actually did it. Eating out constantly? We cut it down to twice a month and made it special when we did. But here's the most important part. Every Sunday evening, We sat down together for 30 minutes and planned the next week's spending. Every dollar had a job before the week started. Groceries, $150. Gas, $60. Ellen's coffee date, $15. My woodworking supplies, $30. Within 3 months, everything changed. We weren't just spending less, we were living better. We found $800 a month that we'd been wasting. $800. That's almost $10,000 a year we'd been throwing away without even realizing it. We took that money and attacked our debt like our lives depended on it. Because honestly, they did. Smallest debt first, that's the car payment on Ellen's sedan. We threw every extra dollar at it, paid it off in 4 months. Then we tackled the second car, then the credit cards. 18 months later, 18 months, we were completely debt-free. No car payments, no credit card balances. We even paid off the mortgage using some savings we'd been sitting on, earning nothing in a savings account anyway. And you know what happened? Our required monthly expenses dropped from $4,200 a month to $1,800. Our Social Security, about $3,400 a month. Suddenly, we weren't just surviving, we were thriving. Now, 6 years into retirement, we still practice this habit every single week. Every Sunday evening, 6:30 p.m., Ellen and I sit down with our notebook. Yes, we still use a paper notebook. Something about writing it down makes it real. We review what we spent the previous week. We celebrate our wins, weeks where we spent less than planned. We discuss our misses, weeks where unexpected expenses came up, and then we plan the next week. This habit has become more than just managing money. It's become our weekly check-in with each other. We talk about what's important to us, what we want to do, where we want to focus our energy and our resources. Last month, we decided we wanted to take the grandkids to the zoo, so we planned for it. We set aside $25 a week for 4 weeks. When the day came, we had $100 in cash specifically for that trip. We didn't worry about it, didn't stress about it, didn't put it on a credit card. We enjoyed every minute because we knew we'd already paid for it. That's the power of this habit. It's not about restriction. It's about intention. It's about making sure your money is doing what you actually want it to do. But here's what really surprised me. This habit didn't just save our retirement financially, it saved our marriage too. Before, Ellen and I fought about money constantly. She'd buy something, I'd get upset. I'd spend money on tools, she'd get frustrated. We were stressed, anxious, always worried about whether we had enough. Now, we never fight about money, never, because we've already agreed on every dollar together. There are no surprises, no resentments, no hidden purchases. We're on the same team, working toward the same goals. Our stress levels drop dramatically. I sleep better, Ellen's happier. We actually enjoy our retirement instead of worrying our way through it. And our relationship with our kids and grandkids improved too. We stopped trying to buy their love with expensive gifts we couldn't afford. Instead, we give them our time, our attention, our presence. And you know what? They appreciate that more anyway. So why does this one habit work so well? 3 reasons. First, it creates awareness. You can't manage what you don't measure. When you write down every dollar, you see exactly where your money goes. No more wondering where it all went at the end of the month. Second, it creates agreement. When you plan together, you eliminate conflict. You're not arguing about individual purchases anymore. You're working together toward shared goals. Third, it creates peace. When you know exactly what you have, exactly what you need, and exactly where it's going, the anxiety disappears. You're in control, And that feeling of control is worth more than any amount of money. Now, I want to challenge you. Not next month, not next week, today, right now, before you go to bed tonight. Grab a notebook and a pen. Sit down with your spouse if you have one. Write down everything you spent money on this past week. Everything. Then ask yourself honestly, did that spending move me closer to the retirement I want or further away? That's it. That's where it starts. 1 week of honest tracking, one conversation about what really matters, one decision to be intentional with every dollar. This one habit saved my retirement. It gave me peace, security, and the freedom to actually enjoy these years instead of worrying through them. It can do the same for you. You don't need a fortune to retire comfortably. You just need to make sure every dollar you have is working toward the life you actually want to live. I'm 69 years old now. I've got no regrets about our financial situation. None. We live simply, we live comfortably, and we live with purpose, all because of one habit we started 6 years ago. If this resonated with you, if you're ready to take control of your financial future, start tonight. Grab that notebook, have that conversation, make that plan. Your future self will thank you for it. I promise you that. Thank you for watching. Until next time, keep planning, keep being intentional, and keep moving forward toward the retirement you deserve.